Alright, so let's talk about some table saw modifications. One of the things missing from my SawStop was when I bought it, SawStop didn't do an integrated router table. So I picked up this general cast iron table, and it's just been kind of languishing and not installed because it was a pain in the ass. And the original SawStop wood piece was in. But I had a friend come over tonight and give me a hand, and we got it almost there. I know that today, 2019 SawStops, you can get this as an added feature, but back when I bought mine like 3 years ago, you couldn't. As you can see, I've got the router table on here, and I used the magnets. I've got 3 of them on right now, but there's 2 others that I'll put on before I drill, just to make sure that the table lines up perfectly. And then I also ran a straight edge all the way across to make sure that it doesn't shift. What I then did was put a couple of blocks in. Put a block there, but I had to wedge that one just a little bit. In order to make sure that this is completely flat with the rest of the table. I am going to have to drill a little, so what I've done is I've marked on both sides exactly the same, and then I went ahead and used a punch, used a nail set because I couldn't find my punch. Let's not talk about it. Anyway, holes that will I'll be able to put the 1/4-20 bolts in. I have 5 bolts here at the seam. Now these holes magically matched up. I'm real happy about that, and I've got these all pretty tight. So I will go ahead and match drill these with those 1/4-20 countersinks, and then I will of course make it so that it's nice and flush just like the original. Another modification I really need to do is, as you can see, this T-track. I would like to use, while engaged in in using the router table, from time to time, a T-track. Now I can't do that as much as I possibly would need to, because this part of the fence rail was there. So what I've done is I have marked this out, and I'm going to come in with an angle grinder and remove that on both sides, clean it up really nicely, and paint it to match, because I don't want to do something halfway. Before I forget, this is the insert that I'm putting in. It's a general Excalibur, and it moves up and down, of course, by a key tool through the other side, but this is the back side of it, the lift mechanism. It's the model 4125. It fits exactly in the hole in the top of the table because it was made for it. And then after this is all installed, there'll be a box around it with a vacuum fitting as well. One quick side note, huge shout out to my friend Jacob, who came over and helped me get it this far, remove the other piece and get this in, and talked me into doing it today instead of, oh, I'll do it someday. So I really appreciate his help in this. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am going to use the cutoff wheel for this, and since I'm using the cutoff wheel, I am going to spend my minute or two. Safety. I'm using safety glasses and a full shield. You only have 2 eyes, and you need both of them. Alright, we're going to switch the grinder. Again, 2 eyes, you need both of them. Since I cut these holes with some 3-in-1 oil, I'm going to clean it up with some naphtha. I also have some paint that I need to remove. And once that dries, then I'm going to prime everything up and paint it gloss black, and so it should match really nicely and should be fully usable. Alright, my primer coat is dried, and I'm going to put some gloss black on. If you love someone, say it with Rust-Oleum. Anyway, I got 2 cans. One is about halfway though, so let's see what we got. Now I'm probably going to put 2 or 3 light coats on here. I'm trying to just make it match the original a little, make it look good. I don't want to just gum it down and have runs, so just a couple 3 little light coats of this. If you want to get super fancy, you can go to like Sherwin-Williams Automotive or one of the automotive paint stores and get the epoxy paint and use epoxy paint and primer. I'm not that fancy. Well, I am that fancy, just not with this. Almost forgot, I went ahead and pre-drilled some of the wood screw holes and countersunk them as well, because after I put the fence on, I won't be able to do that. So I dropped 2 on this side and 2 on the other side. So, I got my magnets ready to make sure that this lip lines up perfectly. The paint's dry, and I've got my hardware and tools down under to make sure that I can put it together, and I've got my blocks here and my straight edge so that I can make sure that I am 100% flat all the way down the table. All right. It's like they pay me to do this. Oh yeah. Quick tip on the leveling screws. These actually go super easy in and out. What I like to do is just get this thing bone level and for it to stay that way. I use just a little bit of blue Loctite. Just put on the threads there and then drop it down to about the right height. Put the router table in and then get it perfect before it sets up. And then, I mean, if you need to move it, you can, but it doesn't move by itself, and there's not a lot of readjustment. One thing to be really mindful of, the 2 screws and then the threads down on the lip that hold the plate on, don't put any Loctite on those. Keep those Loctite free, because you're going to want to take your plate in and out, believe it or not. I know maybe you don't, but you will. Alright, after a few test fits, I believe this is it. Yep. Perfect. Alright, so the table saw's back together. The router table is on and flush. The fence is back on. If I never have to take the fence off ever again in my whole life, I will be a happy camper. Trying to get it square again was not as much fun as you might think. In part 2 of the video, I will be installing the vacuum system and the fence. We'll be putting the walnut and cherry cutting board tailpiece on. We'll put the router in and spin it up and do a few cuts. Absolutely, I shaved off my year-old beard of my own volition.